Welcome back to another episode of Catfish Wars. You guys have been watching all the videos we've been putting out and meeting with a lot of different people in the catfish world, from product guys to tournament teams. And today I have the pleasure of meeting with Jake, the tournament director for the Catfish Bash. Jake, what's up, buddy?
Not much, man. Another morning.
Good morning. So we got the Bash coming up, and man, we're getting so much traction on what you guys got going out there right now. And I just want to get you online here and let's talk about, the bash. How to get started, what is the concept of it? There's a lot of noise on social media about, oh my God, what are they doing? And I figured let's just get you online, address those
Yeah.
concerns, talk about the tournament, put some rules out so people know what they're getting into. So take it away. Tell us about the bash.
Okay, so the bass started a couple years ago. The first time I did the Kings of Clear Lake tournament, I was fishing it. I had to take 3 days off of work. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was tough, and it was my first tournament I ever did. So I'm like, there's got to be something easier, more simpler than this for like new guys that want to come to these tournaments, beginners. Because I've been fishing for a long time, and it was still intimidating to me. So
Yeah.
I wanted to, find something easier where new guys can come in and do it. And I went from there, and there was another program that was doing bass tournaments out of Richmond Park that had a lot of success doing that, like bass tournaments bi-monthly or once a month. And they were having a lot of success with it. So I wanted to take their program and their idea. I'm like, we can do that with catfish.
Great idea, especially when you say, these tournaments right there. I say they're 3 days. It's a 2 day fishing tournament, but really it's a 3 day commitment because you're coming in for the captain's meeting. Um, it's a lot of money. It can be intimidating. I'll spend easily from an out of towner perspective. I can spend upward to $1,000 between the hotel room, gas, bait, equipment, and what have you. So, it does become expensive.
Yeah, it really adds up. So like the bash, that's why I want to do the bash, kind of nonprofit. We don't make any money off of it. I take $100 out of the pot just to pay for the permit. I'm friends with people who own the bar. They're nice enough to let us come down there and use the facilities. And that's another thing I want to do with the bash is have just have a payout where we're not taking no money. Well, because I fish these tournaments too. The more money for all of us. I don't want to take 20% out of the top or nothing like that. I want the payout to be the best.
No, and I think, it's got some legs, on a lot of my little videos here. I've been talking about the bash and, trying to debunk some of the negativity out there is one thing that I look at. This is not meant to compete with the 2 day tournament.
No, not at all. And when I say, those big tournaments, 3 days, I'm not knocking those tournaments. All those tournaments are great. They're tournament style pro tournaments, and they're hard. They're tough. I've tried two of them now, three of them. Did okay, didn't do great, but they really take a toll on you after doing it for 3 days. And that's why I went towards the bash to kind of make it more simpler for new people and myself included.
And the thing is what I've been saying in some of my videos is that think of it as a training ground,
Yeah.
right? Think of it as I like the interest of doing a bigger tournament. I'm not 100% sure, I want to do it. So gives you a great introduction to the people, to the sport. You don't have a huge commitment. It's upwards of $140 if you're entering big fish,
Yeah.
and you have a chance to win some money. But it isn't about the money to me. A lot of guys that, it's not about the money. I think it's about learning the ropes, getting in, doing something fun. And if you do well, you have a chance of making some money.
Yes, definitely. I think our first Clear Lake Catfish Bash, I got some backlash for it. I did winner takes all, and
Yes.
I know I know John Rivera was happy, but no one else was. So at least
Yeah.
we're doing payouts for second and third now.
No, I mean it was, dash for the cash,
Yeah,
winner takes all. The only thing that worries me sometimes is these things get really big and people are people, and when there's big money involved, then it's a matter of the bad element comes out. People, seem to want to cheat and do stuff. And I'm hoping that never happens in this case, that everybody's, so far what I've seen is everybody's above board, and nobody's, sneaking fish in and doing stupid shit. It's just about, again, getting people involved and having a great time.
Yeah, and, we need to have a great time. Remember that, 'cause that's what we're all there for. We're all there, we're not winning a lot of money. We're winning some money, but we're there for the enjoyment and the camaraderie and the teammates to have a good time. And when it comes to cheating, I know if I ever catch anybody or I even get an inkling, I will pay out of my own pocket if it's thousands to get a polygraph. I have no problem sinking a cheater. Well, he'll never be welcome anywhere. That kind of this is the honesty program. We shouldn't be having to worry about that kind of stuff. But if it ever comes up, I will sink that ship.
We've got weights and fish.
Yeah, yeah, right.
So we have a bash coming up. This will be I think it's the first one for this year. The first one we've done in a while was in December, so that was technically last year.
Yeah, we
Uh,
did one last February too, but I think we got about a foot of snow here. Only about five have showed up. It was rough.
right, but for the 2024 season,
This
this
is
will
the
be
first
the
one.
first bash for 2024. One thing different that I know you and I have talked about and you guys have kicked off is this points thing. Uh,
Yes.
let's talk a little bit about that. There's been some negative press about the points thing
You
and
know,
my take, but I want to get your take, right?
I think everybody's going to have an opinion. The point race and the system that we're using, this is just a starting point, just like the whole bash has been. It's a learning experience for me and for everybody involved in this. So how we're going to do the point system is you get 5 points to show up. First place is 10 points, and it goes down to 10th place, which is one, plus your total amount of weight for the tournament. So, like these two tournaments, those 2-day tournaments, what we're going to do is the total weight from those two days of your fish will count towards your points. And if this program don't work, then we'll switch it up to make it more fair for everybody. But this is our starting point, and I think it should work, and we'll go from there.
And that's the key, right? This is a starting point. And, I've kind of, not kind of, I have committed to keep track of the points. We've got a spreadsheet already. We're already putting teams on there that have entered,
Yeah.
the first tournament of the year, which is the Bash. So, we'll start collecting points. I know the Kings of Clear Lake, we're going to pull data from that and put the people in there as part of the points challenge. The rodeo, they've agreed to be part of it. So, between yourself and your team and me, we'll pull all that data together and make adjustments as needed. This is the first year. I've heard some rumors, not to let the cat out of the bag, but there is some potential maybe that all these bashes will not be at Clear Lake. We could open it up
Yes.
elsewhere, right? TBD.
Yeah, TBD. That's why that's why we put on the flyer something to change. There's so many catfishermen and people who fish this lake. I've been here, I haven't, been out fishing in a month, but I can still pull up to the spot and try a few and find a fish. So
Right.
local people and people who fish this lake all the time, kind of got that advantage or have fished it so much with all these tournaments. Switching to another lake would really make it hard because people are going to have to go out and pre-fish, go to their lakes, and you're going to see some people get to the top 5, top 10 that haven't been there before because these guys are going to be putting in work that other guys can't be doing.
And it's interesting as I look at some of the previous tournaments over the last couple of years, is you would think that the leaderboard or the winners would always be local guys
Mm.
just because they have the edge. And honestly, that's not the case.
It's not. It's not. You always got this couple guys that are always up there, but it's not the case. It's a little mixed up.
Yeah, I mean, we all know how to fish, and guys that are learning it are going to learn how to fish, and we're all using pretty much a lot of the same techniques. And I think once you get to that point, it's almost like it's the luck of the draw. It's like we can all put fish in the boat, but can you put the big fish in the boat?
It is luck, man. I'll go out there on a weekend, catch 3, 4, 20 pounders, have a great day. The next day, go out to the same hole and not catch one over 15. Clear Lake is covered in 15 pounders. You can catch 60, 70 of them in a day.
Yeah, and this is where people are saying the 2-day tournaments is that's you can have a good day and a bad day and it all evens out, and I agree that that's part of it, but this isn't that.
Yeah.
This is again, I go back to this is the training ground. This is a introduction to catfishing. This is get to know people, have a good
Yes.
time, not the stress of a 3-day tournament. Not saying it's stressful, but for those guys that have fished them, there's some stress you put on yourself to perform. So.
Yeah, it's hard. You have a real good first day, then a rough second day. Just try to make the best of it. But what I try to remember with the bash is this is for fun, and I want everybody to know that this is for fun. Uh, I try to stay away from the politics, the drama, the sponsors. We do have some, but I don't go tit for tat with people. I try to support local people first, because I'm a local guy. And at the end of it, let's just do this for fun and keep it fun.
Absolutely. So speaking of fun, the next bash is coming up here on was it February 24th, right? We're
Yes.
a few weeks away. Um, give us some details. I know a lot of people, man, and we're gonna pump this video out to people, put it on the page, the Catfish Bash page, Clear Lake page. But the rules, what are people getting into? Kind of explain, like when they sign up, what do we have to do to get on in the tournament, and then, kind of what the process is.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with kind of the process we start like that morning. So if you don't know, it's the Richmond Park Bar and Grill. If you don't know where that's at, you can get a hold of me, Stoney, or Billy, and we can send you a pin drop where to find it at. You can launch anywhere on Clear Lake, which makes it kind of convenient if you're coming in from different parts of town, so you can just shoot across the lake. You're gonna pull up to the dock. I'll be up there with the table signing you in. If you haven't paid, you'll pay that morning. You'll hand me the cash. I'll get your team registered. While that's happening, one of your teammates will be down at the dock. I'll have a volunteer down there checking live wells, all your fish. And I'll be there at 6 a.m. till blast off at 7:30. We're going to be signing in 34 people. And then, there's probably going to be two of us volunteering. We're going to try to bust it out as soon as possible and get everybody out there by 7:30 leaving. Some of the rules, which I think is the biggest problem with these tournaments, is the distance of boats. You got to remember, I know I run my line back like 300 feet. I run it far, some guys run it short. But the distance, I was watching some live feed videos where guys were just, pretty much trolling over their tiller's line. So
Right.
that's one of the big rules. I'm going to hand out rules there, and I don't need to go over all of them. But the main one I would say is that no stringers. You need a boat. You need a live well. The fish has to be alive. Hopefully the fish is not and no foul hooks. I don't want to see something that you are dragging across the bottom and there's a hook through its fins back.
No, absolutely. So one thing I know people are having a little bit of concern with is if they don't have their Clear Lake sticker,
Yeah.
before the tournament, as a lot of these bait shops don't open till 7, I believe.
Yeah, there's seven, and there is, some lumber yards and places like that, but I can only do so much. I can't
Oh,
keep chasing the
absolutely.
tournament. And if you got to come out here and get a sticker, you got to figure that out. I can only do so much to accommodate people. I've tried to accommodate people as much as I can. I've bumped the time up to 7:30 now as blast off instead of 7, just so it's a little more light, especially with the current conditions of the lake. We have trees, we have logs. The lake's kind of in bad condition for stuff all over it. So I wanted the light be out and go from there.
So one question then is say, and I know this is going to come up.
Yeah.
Your blast off is at 7:30.
Uh-huh.
If I show up late, I couldn't get my sticker, I get on the water, I show up to the Lakeport or show up at the Redmond and I'm past 7:30, can I still fish it?
You know, um, I I will make accommodations for people like that. I think there's been a couple times in the past where I had a guy pull to Richmond Park in the parking lot with his boat. I said, "Don't worry about it, man. Let me check your boat. I'll drive my boat across the lake where you're launching at. I'll check your live well. Make sure you're all good to go." Because I'm fishing the tournament, but I'm still going to do my best to make it work for people. Not saying that's okay. I don't want 10 boats showing up late. I mean,
Exactly.
shit does happen and stuff. Will go wrong. So, I mean, if you're going to run a little bit of late, let me know. We've waited around before for a guy that was cruising across the lake that couldn't find. I think it was Ken. He got lost one time, and we sat around for a good 20 minutes waiting for him.
Wrong
you
way,
know,
Ken.
yeah. So we'll try to make the best of it with people being late. I just don't want everybody doing it.
No, absolutely. So I'm glad to hear that there will be some, accommodation. We'll take it a case by case basis. Um, for the weigh-in time is you have to be to the inside the buoy. There's a couple buoys there inside the buoy to the Richmond. By what time?
3:30.
3:30. And that one I would say is probably a hard 3:30. It's not 3:35, not 3:40. It's by 3:30. You're
It's
there.
by 3:30. I want to see all 34 boats out there. They have a lot of parking on there. I think we can pretty close to accommodate most of those boats on those docks that they have. It's going to be a little bit of tight fit if we get all 34 teams out there. And it's going to take time to weigh everybody in. If we got 34 people in line, what we'll do is we'll probably have about 6 baskets of fish being carried up. But that's still going to take, half hour, 45 minutes to weigh out 34 fish. And we're going to have the Catfish Bash banner up there hanging up so people can take photos before they weigh their fish in. I'll get someone out there with a camera on a phone, or, just so we have memories of this as you're walking up, because it's going to take some time to, weigh in 34 teams.
No, absolutely. And I plan on shooting a bunch of video myself to make some more content and help promote the events. And so we've gone through quite a few things. I'm going to throw the flyer up here so people can see all the information as far as when, where, and what, and contact information. The one thing on payment, is we're really encouraging people to pay early. There'll be a link on here as well that shows you the Venmo thing. So if you have a Venmo account, definitely pay ahead of time just to expedite the check-in process. And I'm assuming the day of, you want cash, no checks, no
Cash only, cash
cash
only,
only.
cash, cash.
Yeah, so you gotta pay to play. That's bottom line.
Yes, and if we can get people to pay beforehand, it'll definitely expedite that morning. Everybody waiting in line. I do have everybody sign a waiver form when they get there. I'll be handing you the rules, and that takes time. So if you pay it in advance, or if you want to sign the waiver through email, I'll see if I can get that over to you, and you can print it out beforehand and just hand it to me, just to make things even go faster that morning. Because we're signing up in the morning is kind of a pain, but I wanted to give the people the option because life does happen. And I don't want them to feel like obligated, like I have to go. Like, you know what, something happened, I'm not going to go. I don't need to worry about a refund. I'll let Jake know.
No, perfect, perfect. Again, the whole idea of this is to have fun, get some exposure to tournament fishing, and meet everybody, and just build some relationships and have a great time.
Yes, and then it's just a starting point. So when after someone fishes this one, we have the Kings of Clear Lake coming up. That's gonna be a big tournament, and it's some of the toughest people. I get my butt kicked every time in that tournament. It's fun. It's fun. It's a blast. But yeah, this is the first tournament of the year, and then we go into the Clear Lake. We got the Clear Lake Catfish Bash, and then we go into the Kings of Clear Lake, and that's a big one. And I really hope everybody continues from the February tournament and goes and checks out the Kings of Clear Lake, because that's what it's really about.
Yeah. And then you got the rodeo right up after that.
Yes.
And then the Derby, the Derby's been there for 30 some odd years. And to me, that's a different animal. It's a
It is.
Derby.
I'm not really a fan of it. I mean, it's a great, it's a fun time. You know, I, after you go on the lake after those tournaments, you see the thousands of fish that are floating everywhere. I really like the Derby. I fished as a kid. I fished my whole life. It leaves kind of the lake in a sad state when it's over.
Yeah. And again, the Derby is not like these pro style
No,
tournaments.
not at all.
Different animal altogether.
We're
Nothing
we're
away
we're
from that.
catch, picture, release. We're just trying to keep the fishery going. And then we also have a date set in August, hopefully to be at a different lake to be determined. August 17th is the date. And we have one in October and December. December, I'm thinking big money. I'm thinking the entry fee. Possibly, I'm just throwing this out there. Hopefully, I get a little feedback. Maybe let's do like a $300 entry. Let's put some big stuff on the table and do a fall brawl where it really pumps out some money and things get changed up a little bit.
I'm involved in a lot of the tournaments and things going on behind the scenes. And all I can say is I know there's a lot of activity going on that people know about, and there's probably some things going on that people don't know about.
No, they don't, man. Our wheels are always turning. And
Yeah, so
we all got full-time jobs. We're doing this on volunteer basis out of our own time, our own kind heart. We're doing this because we want to do it.
yeah, but there's a lot coming up, right? There's what I'm finding is that when there's success, and that's what I see happening out in Clear Lake. There's a lot of success, so a lot of people come out wanting to be either a guide. I don't know how many guides are out there now, but everybody's trying to be a guide. There's people trying to be tournament directors, and a lot of people trying to start their own things out there, which I'm all for, right? I think it's all great exposure. There's been a few things people saying about, oh my God, you're hurting the fishery. And in my last podcast or video, we're kind of putting some numbers around it. If you look at, say, the bass tournaments during the bass season when that's going on, there's probably 100+ tournaments that happen on that lake every
Oh,
year
yes,
for bass.
definitely.
So I'm gonna say 10 tournaments for catfish between everything that's going on, as I know it today. I don't believe we're hurting the fishery because we're catching and releasing. Yeah, the fish are gonna have some sore lips, maybe a little bit because they got hooked, but we're making sure the fish are being taken care of. We're putting them back into the system. 10 catfish tournaments a year, I don't believe is gonna hurt, the fishery, especially on a catch and release type of program.
No, and I don't think it's going to either. Because, like you said, look at the abuse the bass take, and catfish are pretty resilient. Uh, I do get some points that have been brought up. 10 tournaments. People want to see something different, and I get that. And that's why we're working on the sidelines, trying to figure it out. Clear Lake's my hometown, so it's a little easier to get something going here and doing it. Traveling out of town, if people got ideas and they have contacts at different lakes for marinas, people that we can have tournaments at, let me know, let any of the directors know, me, Billy, let Stoney know, anybody, and we'll get it going.
Yeah, and you guys, the history I have, I did one tournament out in Berryessa. My catfish championship, we called it, and it was an invitational only. And I got my exposure being a tournament director, and I realized real quickly that I just want to fish them. I'll help behind the scenes, and I'm pretty good
Yeah.
at promoting and organizing and stuff like that. So I have no problem helping out a lot of these guys trying to do stuff. But I don't want to be the head guy.
No, of course not. And Barry Essen was one of my favorite because a lot of the guys that always place good and do real good, they didn't catch no fish. I got fifth place and I was stoked. I was happy. It was a real struggle on that lake. And Barry Essen is a great fishery. That's why I'm looking at it. There's 50-pound catfish out there. And as when it comes to director, I never realized how much drama and how many problems is really behind this. That's why I kind of implement, and I always say this is for fun, you guys. Let's not get upset at him, her, she, whatever's going on. Let's just all have a good time as men, women, and as a group, and not worry about all the BS that goes on behind it.
And it's a learning thing, right? A lot of these guys that are coming out of the woodwork to do this, including yourself,
Yeah.
it's not like you're a seasoned tournament director where you've done this for years,
No.
years and years, and you're going to reach out, you're going to get help, and some of it you're going to make up on your own. That this is the cool part of it. There isn't a rule book you have to follow. There's some things out there that people do, and you're going to follow that, but the creativity of coming up with doing your own thing. I mean, it's great to see some innovative new ways of doing stuff.
Yeah, and that's why I think that the Bass is going to prosper and do so good is because I work full time. I work out of town. I'm only home with my family. 4 to 6 days a month. So when these big tournaments would come up, I couldn't make it. It was hard. I had to take off time for work, which cost me money financially. So when me, a director of the Bass, I'm like, okay, so guys that have work, they can get off Friday night, get their boat ready, cruise up to Clear Lake Saturday morning, and then still be back to their families that Saturday night. And that's why I think it's going to do good.
Well, great. I'm looking forward to it, Jake. It's going to be an amazing time. I'm really hoping that I think we're at 34 boats today.
Yeah, my phone rang 4 times yesterday, man. It was crazy. It's catching more traction. It's hard to keep up with, and I thank you, Stoney, for all the help you've put in this and everything you've done.
I appreciate that. So make sure you guys check this video out on Facebook. It'll be on YouTube. I've been posting everything up on YouTube. There's a lot of people out there who are not on Facebook, but you can get all the information. I'm going to put Jake's number in here, Billy's number on there. You don't need to contact me. I'm just behind the scenes.
Yeah,
I like to say I'm the administrative bitch that does all the behind the scenes stuff. So that's what I do. I have no decision making. I have just here to help out. So
yeah,
um Jay, I appreciate your time getting online with me today, and we'll get this information out. And we hope to see everybody on the 24th, and we're gonna have a blast.
yeah. It's gonna be a blast. Can't wait to see everybody out there.
Any last words?
That's it, man. I'll see everybody February 24th. And anybody has any questions, give me a call or contact me on Facebook.
Perfect. Well, tight lines, everybody, and thanks for listening in, and we'll see you soon.